Hello and welcome to Byju's Exam Prep IAS. I welcome you all to the daily quiz session for 13 January 2023. Before we start, a very important announcement for you that tomorrow we'll be having a very important session by Sarmat Sir, Polity this week. This is a new initiative which will be summarizing all current affairs related to polity for the period of 7 January to 13 January 2023, and this initiative will be happening every week. It will be a live session at 8 p.m. so do not miss it. It's a new and important initiative for your preparation, and we hope that you're going to join it and enrich your preparation. If you're liking these sessions and our initiatives, do like, share and subscribe to the channel itself. Before we go to the questions, of important clarification for you all. In yesterday's DQ daily quiz itself, we said that the Indian skimmer is vulnerable under IUCN Red List. However, under the new IUCN Red List update, it has been now upgraded to endangered rather than vulnerable. So this is an important clarification. We said it was vulnerable. Now under the new list, it is endangered. With this, let's discuss the first question itself. Which of the following are not celebrated in January? Makar Sankranti, Pongal, Kati Bihu, or Lohri? Now the context of this question is related to a very important message from the President of India, who is wishing us on the eve of Lohri, Makar Sankranti, Magh Bihu and Pongal. But what is more important in this question is that you need to know that there are three types of Bihu. First is called the Bohag Bihu, second one is called the Magh Bihu, and the third one is called the Kati Bihu. Kati Bihu is in the Kartik month, which is technically October. Magh Bihu is January, and Bohag Bihu is in the month of Baisakh, which is in April. So the catch in this question is, does Makar Sankranti happen in January? Yes, it happens. Pongal and Lohri, all of them happen. However, Kati Bihu is not the one which happens in January, rather in October. Therefore, the answer is C. So when we talk about this question, it is technically not checking your knowledge of the festivals itself, but do you understand the difference between the three Bihus? Bohag, as I said, is April, this is January, and Kati Bihu is Kartik month, which is nothing but October. So it's a very easy question, but an interesting one. You need to understand this Bohag, Magh and Kati. And as I said, the context is the President's greetings on the eve of Lohri, Makar Sankranti, Magh Bihu and Pongal. She has very specifically said that these festivals which happen together represent unity in diversity, and at the end of the day, this is what makes India so beautiful, and it is a very important feature of our culture that in every part of India we have a festival which represents the same ideas and has a different cultural expression. With this, let's move to the second question. Consider the following statements. The NSO releases the data on retail inflation in the country. The DPIIT, the Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, releases the Index of Industrial Production. Which of the following statements are correct? Now the context of this article is an Indian Express article which talks about how the November factory output has gone up to 7.1% and retail inflation is under 6% for the first time in December. But what is more important for us is the static portion of it. So let's try to understand, does the NSO release data of retail inflation in country? Yes, it does. But the second statement is incorrect because it is the NSO only which releases the IIP, which is Index of Industrial Production, a very important indicator of manufacturing and output in India. Therefore, this statement is totally incorrect and the answer is A. Both of these are released by NSO. Please do note this. It is a very important aspect related to your preparation. Economic static always interacts with the larger concept of current affairs, and you need to understand that also. With this, let's move to the third question. Which of the following statements are correct? India does not have a dedicated legislation for mental health. Mental health disorder find a coverage under the Ayushman Bharat scheme. And the options are which of the statement is correct. Now, there was a very interesting article in the Indian Express. It's an editorial which talks about how mental health policy is under resourced. We need to concentrate on that and how we need to change the regime itself. But what it actually refers to are two very important aspects. First, that India does have a dedicated mental health policy and a mental health act, which is called the Mental Health Act of 2017. This act is what dictates all the policies and different aspects related to mental health in India. And are mental health disorders covered under Ayushman Bharat scheme? Yes, they are. And the answer here is B, two only. Now, this is an interesting article. It talks about how mental health is becoming more and more problematic and an aspect in which India needs to understand it is part and parcel of life, and we need a dedicated understanding of these problems itself. So this article in that context becomes extremely important because it talks about the NIMHANS, which is a very premier institution related to mental health itself, and it talks about how we need to create the best practices when it comes to tackling mental health in the long run. With this, let's move to the fourth question, an interesting one. Which of the following statements are correct? India has won 8 Olympic golds in the field of hockey. India will be hosting the Men's Hockey World Cup for the first time in 2023, which is happening in Orissa. The hockey goalkeeper is allowed to use his hands to stop the ball. Now, this talks about day-to-day knowledge of hockey itself and some other facts related to hockey generally. Now, what is the context? As you know, the Hockey World Cup 2023 is happening in Orissa in India itself. So these small facts become important. So has India won 8 Olympic golds? Yes, it has. However, India has hosted the Hockey World Cup not once, not twice, but 4 times in 1982, in 2010, in 2018, and now in 2023. So this statement is totally incorrect. Out of elimination, we automatically get the answer 1 and 3 only. And the third statement is also correct. It is only the hockey goalkeeper who can use his hands to stop the ball. So please do keep track of what is happening when it comes to the Hockey World Cup itself, because UPSC has started to ask questions about sports also. It is important that we know these important moments in our own history and in our own sports history. With this, let's move to the previous year question, an interesting one, which is consider the following statements with respect to Bharat Ratna and Padma Awards. First, Bharat Ratna and Padma Awards are titles under the Article 18(1) of the Constitution of India. Padma Awards, which were instituted in the year 1954, were suspended only once. The number of Bharat Ratna awards is restricted to a maximum of 5 in a particular year. Which of the statements are not correct? So we have to find the incorrect ones. So the first aspect of this question, the easiest of it, is the fact that we know that this statement is incorrect because Bharat Ratna awards are not 5 but only 3. Every year only 3 people can be given the award. So the answer needs to have 3. So we have 3 options with 3 in it. Second is the fact that are Padma Awards and Bharat Ratna titles under Article 18(1) of the Constitution of India. In 1996, the Supreme Court gave a judgment that the Padma Awards are not covered or do not amount to awards under Article 18 itself. So this is also incorrect. So now we have 2 options which has 1 and 3 together. Now we need to know a very specific concept, which is Padma Awards and how many times were they suspended. Now this is a difficult question because you would not know the year of suspension, though it was suspended in 1978, in 79, between 1993 to 1997, and in 2020 and 2021. Therefore, it was not once but multiple times. So all 3 statements are incorrect. And this is what makes this question extremely difficult because of the way it is playing with facts. 1 and 3 are the most easy ones to understand, that under the titles rule of the fundamental rights itself, Article 18(1), the Padma Awards and Bharat Ratna are not covered and they are not titles under it. Second, 3 we know because every year a list of 3 people is released, not 5. But the second statement is equally incorrect and we need to know the specific years, or at least we need to know that it was not once but multiple times itself. So with this, we've done the 5 questions which we need to cover for our daily quiz itself. We tried to understand something related to hockey, in which you need to remember that India has won 8 Olympic golds, and over and above that India is not hosting it for the first time but for the 4th time, and some rules and regulations of hockey itself. Then we try to understand the difference between Bohag, Magh and Kathi Bihu. So also remember that there are 3 types of Bihu, they can play it in the exam. Then we were able to understand that the NSO releases the IIP and also retail inflation data, and thereafter the last question dealt with the Mental Health Act of 2017, that we have a dedicated act for that. And over and above that, Ayushman Bharat covers the mental health problems also, and we need to create a better awareness about mental health in India. So with this, we can go to the fact of the day, which is a Samudrayan mission. And under the Samudrayan mission, India now plans to send 3 people 6,000 meters below the sea level. They are specifically making a new vehicle called the Matsya 6000, which is going to take these 3 people below 6,000 meters of the sea level itself. And it is about pushing for research and the blue economy concept. So this is a very important aspect related to your preparation, because they can just write Matsya 6000 or the Samudrayan mission, basic details, 3 people, 6,000 meter, trying to push for blue economy, and it's about research and innovation and discovery below the sea. India is trying to use its very dominant position in the Indian Ocean to become a major naval power and a superpower which can use its expertise in the oceans and the seas to help boost its economy and general strategic position within the Indian Ocean itself. With this, I would like to end the session. Thank you so much for your patience. I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.